Good day, student. You are welcome to LAUTECH Open and Distance Learning Center. I will be taking you ACT 306, that is Petroleum Accounting, Study Section 2. We are looking at classification and grouping of cost and revenue in oil and gas. The objective of oil and gas operation is to find, extract, refine, and sell oil and gas. Refined products and related products, it requires substantial capital investment and long lead time to find and extract the hydrocarbon in challenging environmental conditions with uncertain outcome. In this study section, you will be introduced to exploration cost, production cost, transportation cost, refining cost and distribution cost, property cost and their treatment, oil and gas revenue process with a detailed classification. Our learning outcome for study section 2, we have about 6 learning outcomes. The first one is to explain exploration cost, production cost, refining cost and distribution cost, property cost and their treatment, and highlight oil and gas revenue process. Exploration cost is an expense necessitated for determining the existence, location, quality, or economic value of a mineral deposit. The cost does not include the expense incurred for putting a mine into production to obtain the mineral. Expenditure incurred before obtaining the legal right to explore is generally expense, basically not exploration cost. We have types of exploration cost. We have about 2 basic types of exploration cost. We have operating cost, we have depreciation cost. For the two, which the depreciation and applicable operating cost of support equipment and facilities and other costs of exploration activities are, we look at the cost of topographical, geographical, and geophysical studies, right of access to properties to conduct these studies, and salaries and other expenses of a geologist, geophysical crew, and other conducting these studies. Collectively, these are sometimes referred to as geological and geophysical, or we call it G&G cost. Number 2, we look at the cost of carrying and retaining undeveloped properties, such as delay rentals and valorem taxes on properties, legal cost for title defense, and maintenance of land and lease records. Number 3, we look at the dry hole contribution and bottom hole contribution. 4, we look at the cost of drilling and equipping exploratory well. Cost of drilling exploratory, which is the type of strategic, we call it stratigraphic test well. Production cost. Production costs are those costs incurred to operate and maintain an enterprise's well and related equipment and facilities. Production costs are the total costs incurred to manufacture or produce oil and gas or other output. Production costs consist of the cost of gathering, feed process, treating, and feed storage of oil and gas. Production commences while the lifting of oil and gas to the surface and terminates at the outlet valve on the feed production storage tank. They include depreciation and applicable operating of supporting equipment and facilities. So the following are considered as instances of production cost: cost of labor to operate the well and related equipment and facilities. Besides, repair and maintenance expenses made for those equipment and facilities are production cost. We have classification of production cost. We have 2 types of classification of production cost. We have nature by objective, we have nature by operation. For the nature by objective, we have salaries, taxes, materials, and support. They are all categorized under the nature by objective. And for the nature by operation, we have the pumping and dredging, we have the subsurface maintenance. All these are categorized under the nature of operation. Now, the example of nature by operation, the categories we have mentioned that it includes salary, wages of pumpers, and the wages of gaugers, we have rostables, we have maintenance crew, we have weather, and etc. It also includes the salary of the tank farms, superintendent, and production foreman. So where such supervisors have responsibility for more than one lease, as it is often the case, so the practice is also allocate their salaries to individual lease or wells. Now, nature by operational function. Nature by operational function. Costs incurred during the activities carried out by operations in repairing leased equipment such as tank farm, separators, descenders, desorters, flow line, lease cabin, engines, motor pump, and other surface production equipment are classified as repair and maintenance and form part of production cost. Now, example of nature by operational function. We have contract service, we have and that service such as pump maintenance, we have recompletion, we have and workover, catering, case repair. Then we have the paraffin control, and the sanding may be contracted out by an oil company. Now we have insurance. The typical insurance that may affect production costs are medical, the workmen's compensation, fire and windstorm, boiler explosions, and etc. Then we have fringe benefits. Fringe benefits are part of total compensation of labor and should be allocated to individual leases. Then we have repair and maintenance. The cost incurred in repairing leased equipment such as tank farm, separators, descenders, desorters, flow lines, lease cabin, engines, motors, pump, and other surface production equipment are classified as repair and maintenance and form part of production cost. Refining cost. Refining cost is a cost that could be linked directly to the downstream activities, which include crude supply, trading, refining, production, distribution, marketing, and retailing. Accounting for refining operation. We have about 4 accounting for refining operation. We have basis of capitalization, we have crude oil purchasing, we have transfer pricing, we have processing of crude oil belonging to outsiders. Now, basis of capitalization. Any amount expended in order to improve the earning capacity of the refinery is capitalized, while any expenditure incurred in order to maintain the earning capacity of the business is charged to the operation of the particular period. Now let's look at the second one, which is the crude oil purchasing. This is achieved by crude exchange with other companies, purchases of crude oil, and sales of crude oil. So crude oil exchanges are recorded in the accounting book by memorandum entries only. Purchases of crude oil are accounted for in the cost of sales, while sales of crude oil are recorded as sundry income. Now, if you are looking at the third one, that's the transfer pricing, is a refinery equivalently an integral part of integrated oil company. It's also important to determine what the transfer price of gasoline and other products of the refinery transfer to the company's marketing division will be. Now, fixing of transfer pricing is a function of the management who rely heavily on the information supplied by the accountant. So it is important that transfer pricing are fixed in order to ensure that the performance of the transferring division, department, or subsidiary can be evaluated. Now, we have goal congruence within the organization is enhanced. The autonomy of each division, department, or is maintained. The overall organization is put at a tax advantage, and the cost of inefficient operation or decision making will be reviewed for necessary correction action. Property cost and their treatment. The property cost referred to as acquisition cost of properties. It's a cost incurred to purchase, lease, or otherwise to acquire a property, including cost of lease bonuses and options to purchase or lease properties. the portion of cost applicable to minerals when land including mineral rights is purchased in fee brokers, fee recording fees, and legal costs and other costs incurred in acquiring properties. Property accounting treatment. This accounting standard of preparing property account for the oil and gas industry is contained in 3 methods. And number 1, maintain subsidiary records. And under the maintain subsidiary records, we have the unapproved property, we have approved properties, we have work in progress, we have lease and well equipment, and we have field services equipment. Now, accounting for property and equipment acquisition or reclassification, amortization, impairment, and retirement and sales. That it is the second accounting treatment for property cost. The third one is we are to compare actual expenditure of work in progress to authorized amount. Oil and gas revenue process. We have revenue from oil different from revenue from gas. Now, from revenue from oil, revenue from gas is actually limited to revenue from gas sold. So revenue consists of such incidental income as ullage fee, rentals, power sales, management fee, etc. Now, an important step in accounting for revenue from oil is the determination of the volume lifted. Although the field personnel such as the grader perform the actual measurement of volume. So the accountant must be familiar with the measurement procedures in order to meaningfully record revenue in the book of accounts. So oil is usually produced in association with gas, as only few reservoirs produce gas or crude oil only. So therefore, after oil is produced from oil well, it is passed through a separator to remove gas from the liquid, that is which we refer to as crude oil, or remove liquid, that is condensate from gas. So the oil is also passed through a heater treater to remove water and other impurities from the oil. So the gas removed from the oil is referred to as casing head gas. So the treated oil is then usually stored in large store tank, collectively referred to as tank farm or tank batteries. Now, revenue from gas. Accounting for revenue from gas is similar to accounting for revenue from oil. Now, in that it involves measurement, pricing, and formal recording of value. The differences is that quantitative measurement and pricing are more complex in revenue from gas. So the volume of gas delivered from a well is calculated from orifice meter chart and accumulated by month. Now, an orifice meter is a device in which the pressure differentially between the two sides of an opening or construction called an orifice is used as a factor for determining the volume of flow. Now, we have account for volume sold and establishes or check prices reflected in revenue received. Now, number 2 the maintains oil and gas revenue record for each property. Now, maintain record related to properties for purpose of regulatory compliances and production taxes. Number 4, we have the compute production taxes. Now, maintain division of interest, master files with guidance from the land department as to how revenue is allocated among the company. That is where royalty owners and others. Now, when we compute amount due to royalty owners and joint interest owners and prepares report to this party, we have the invoices purchasers for sales of natural gas. That is how we are talking about the revenue from gas. Now, the 8th one is maintains ledger of undistributed royalty payment for owners with unsigned division. Others, then owners whose interests are suspended because of estate issue and other distributed production payment. Then we have prepared revenue accruals. So that's the process of oil and gas revenue. We have come to the end of this study section. Thank you for listening. See you in the next class.